Everybody, my name is Theo and I want to show you some Microsoft Excel tips and tricks. Specifically, I want to show you this feature that a lot of people probably don't know too much about. It's called the fill handle. The fill handle basically will fill in values for you, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use it. First, I've got this little makeshift to-do list. I wanted to go grocery shopping, clean my bathroom, wash my car, make some dinner. And as I complete all these things, I want to put a status next to it. Now, as you see here on my spreadsheet, I just have grocery shop and complete. Now, if I grab my fill handle, and the fill handle is always in the bottom right-hand corner of your active cell, and you'll notice that your pointer turns from a white cross to a black cross. That's how you know you got the fill handle. I can click and drag down, and you'll notice it takes whatever that top example is, and it just fills it in over and over again. This is called a fill by example, and one of the other neat things about that fill by example, Microsoft Excel sort of recognizes that I have a grid here. So all I have to do is click on that top item, and if I double click down on my fill handle, it fills in that same thing over and over again, and it does it according to this list that it recognizes. Now, one of the other things I might want to do is I may decide that I want to number these items just so I can keep track of how many things that I've done today. And so what I can do is I can type in a number 1 here, type in a number 2 here. Now, obviously, you could just keep typing in numbers, but I'm showing you the fill handle. So obviously, I can make the fill handle do the same thing. I'm just going to select these top 2 numbers. And if I double click on my fill handle, remember it's that black cross. If I double click, it will fill in the other numbers in that series. And now this is what's called a fill by series. And that is when when Microsoft Excel recognizes that there's an obvious series in the numbers that you're using or whatever is in the fill handle. Let me give you another, probably better example of fill by series. Let's say I want to make a little makeshift calendar here. And so I have my days in my column, and I will have the months spread across the row. So we'll do something like this. So if I just type in January, it recognizes that January is part of a series of the months of the year. So I can just take my fill handle and I can fill it across, and you'll notice it just fills in the months. So I don't have to type them in. It just kind of knows that this is part of a series. If I wanted to, I could also do a fill by series here with numbers again. And I can just fill all the way down here. And now I've got sort of a makeshift calendar. But these aren't the only series that it recognizes. So for instance, anytime that I type in something that has a number associated with it, it will recognize it as a series as well. So for instance, I can change this to weeks, and I can say week 1. Because I've got week and the number 1, it recognizes it as a series, so it will fill in 2, 3, 4, however many weeks we want to go. I'll give you one better than that. Maybe we want to skip a week, right? So we really want week 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I can modify this a bit, give it an example of how I want this series to be filled in, and you'll notice it fills in all of my weeks, skipping a week. I'll give you one even better than that. Let's say we're doing a meeting and I want to do this meeting every other week. So let's say the first meeting is January 1st, 2026. The second meeting will be January 15th, 2026. If I select those two, you'll notice it fills in the meetings every other week based on the date that I give it as an example up front. So there's a lot of variations and things that you can do with this fill handle. You'll notice that when we use a fill handle, at least on the Macintosh edition of Microsoft Excel, you'll notice that you get an autofill options button. If you click that button, it'll give you some more options as to what you can do with the fill handle. I did a fill by series and a fill by example, but you can also do things with formatting or without formatting. It gives you a number of different options. All right, one last thing that I'll show you is right here I have basically my list for a picnic that I'm setting up. So I've got the cost for things like hot dogs and the number of hot dogs that I want to buy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little equation here, equals my hot dogs times the quantity and you'll notice that I can take my little fill handle, once I hit the check mark here, it calculates it for this row. Once I take my fill handle, I can fill down, and it fills in the other values relative to the values on my table. And this is what's called a fill by reference. This fill by reference tool is actually pretty powerful. I think I'll do another video just to show you how the fill by reference feature works in Microsoft Excel.